Possibly the most frequently asked question after do I need to put the breathe hole in, but in reference to purchasing a regulator in the first place, is people say, how hard is it to fit? I always try and give a polite and well worded answer, and I'm sorry if sometimes it might come across as slightly obtuse, but it's simply a case of how long's a piece of string. I don't know you personally, and I don't know what your job is and what you do in your spare time. If you repair clocks and watches, you repair lawnmower engines, or you've got other mechanical hobbies, or you're a mechanical or engineering fitter, you repair your own car and things, then fitting a regulator is going to be so easy and a piece of cake. It's just going to be sort of a nothingness. It's not going to take you out of your comfort zone really whatsoever. If you're somebody who doesn't even repair a puncture on your push bike, you take it to a bicycle shop, then obviously it's going to be a damn sight harder and you might struggle. But hopefully, you know, you'd take on the challenge and you'd learn something and you've got a skill, and you can say to people at the gun club, I've fitted the regulator and set it up. You know, not I've sent it away, but I've done it. And technically speaking, pound for pound, and money outlay for time, you've got all the time in the world. It's your gun. You should, if given enough time and you're patient enough, actually be able to do a better fitting job than if you send it away and have it professionally done, because they're charging you per hour a set rate, and fitting a regulator is quite simple. It's not, you know, a massive job, and so you should over the months probably fiddle and tweak and do things and actually get more shots or a more consistent shot count, foot per second than they've produced. So there you go. The hardest part of fitting the regulator that you're going to find, you know, if you're not mechanically minded to start with, I think, is you've got to strip your air rifle down, or at least strip the air reservoir section down. And that's the main part. That is the main mechanical difficulty in fitting a regulator. It's you have got to be able to look at your instruction manual, go on the internet and find exploded drawings and speak to people, and get the tools to take the rifle and the reservoir to pieces to start with. That is actually the main difficulty. After that, you should have been supplied with a regulator which is of the right size to fit into the air reservoir. We, or whoever you've bought the regulator off, should have set it to roughly the correct working pressure, and supplied you with a suitable length spacer for the project that you're undertaking. So basically, once you've got the gun to pieces, it's simply a case of lining up the spacer to the end of your cylinder and your thread, seeing where you're going to put the breathe hole in between the two O-rings, and then you've just simply got to mark the cylinder, drill the hole into the air reservoir and remove the bearing as is shown in other videos, and then insert the regulator and the spacer into the air reservoir tube. And mechanically speaking, that is all there is really to fitting a regulator. Taking your air gun to pieces, lining the parts up, drilling the breathe hole correctly and inserting them. The difficult part with fitting a regulator is the time and effort it takes to set it correctly. So by set it correctly, we mean you need to keep graphs. You need to set yourself a goal of how many shots you're trying to get, at what power level, you know, foot-pounds or joules. Keep graphs once the regulator's been fitted, and if you follow the videos on the graphing playlist on this channel, then you should be able to adjust the outlet valve spring, the hammer travel or the hammer spring compression, and the transfer port size. It's making these adjustments to get the best out of the regulator that's the piece that takes the time and the effort. If you're the sort of person that's, as we'd say in these parts, bullet a gate, which means you're just going to slam the regulator in, that's it, I'm done it, that should bloody work, then the chances are you're not going to get the best out of it. If you're somebody that's patient and methodical, you're going to get better results. So really, when you set about doing the job, you need to follow the steps on the various videos, make notes, take photographs as you take your gun to bits so as you know exactly what you're doing, and you shouldn't really have any bother. Fitting a regulator isn't a big job. The regulator's been manufactured for you. There's plenty of information on this YouTube channel about pressures and outlet transfer port sizes, etc., and what the various graphs mean and what you have to adjust to get a perfectly flat line. And so when it comes to how difficult is it to fit a regulator, the two parts are: it's difficult mainly to take your gun to bits carefully without marking it. Drilling the hole and installing the regulator is actually relatively easy. And then the next difficult part is taking the time to do the graphs and make the little adjustments where necessary to get the best out of the regulator once it's installed in the gun. And that's really the best answer I can give, and I hope that's been of some help.